Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantel Francis, with the fabulous Fanta joining me today. How are you, Fanta?
I am so good.
So good that you're so good. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here. But if it's your first time, just do a little favor and just click that subscribe, be part of the Reality Realness crew. Join us in the chat where we'd love to have lots of conversations about our favorite reality TV television shows. I guess that was redundant, but reality TV shows. So we have Sophie here, of course. Jorge, hello. We don't want to know this, Sophie, but Sophie said that she found who won both the Challenge Ultras and Challenge 37. Why I hate spoilers. I hate them so much. Like, I do like them for Big Brother because it's not really spoilers when you're watching the live feeds, but I want to be surprised by the season. So I hate how people post them on their sites. You know what I mean? And I'm scared that I even might have been spoiled because I saw someone make a post about something. So anyways, Sophie, no spoilers, but I want to know at the end of the season if that person was correct and accurate so I can avoid them in the future. Andre, charming Chantel, where are thee? We are here now with fabulous Fanta. Of course. Hi, Jelly Donut. Oh, true. Oh, Katie. Jorge says another great episode. I love Casey, and I never thought I would say that.
Same.
We're going to get into a lot about Casey, I'm sure. Sophie also says, I got some tea about All-Stars 2. At some point, a challenge producer got COVID and the cast had to quarantine. And when they went back to filming, someone didn't come back. Interesting. I don't want to know that either, but after it happens, please let us know if that was true. I'm surprised how hard and smart they went after Derrick. Yes, we're going to get into that as well. Sophie stealing my spotlight too. Oh dear. Okay, so we should just get into this episode before Sophie becomes the tea queen and take Jelly Donut's position as always having the tea. Natalie is usually very good with the tea, but I don't see Natalie here yet today. But Natalie and Jelly Donut always bringing the tea, which we love. So if there's any hookups, we want to hear about the hookups for sure. Any Twitter beefs? Yes, please. That's what we want to know about for sure. All right. So you said that you loved this episode. Just your overall thoughts. How'd you feel about it? Why'd you love it?
I thought it was great. I just love that it is only episode 4 and big moves are being made, especially by people on the bottom. I love strategy so much. I love it. And just the way that it was done, it was just done so well.
It was perfection. And I could see you probably eating up the strategy there. It was delicious. Yum. Jorge says, I think the strategy was amazing. Agreed. But I think that they should have used that tactic with Darrell, not Derrick.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Go ahead.
And the reason why I don't agree with that is because I think Darrell can kind of go either way sometimes, but B, Brad versus Derrick is a much better matchup.
For me, I think that Steve didn't really have a reason to take a swing at Darrell here, right? Nehemiah didn't have right now a reason to take a swing at Darrell. So I think that it's because it was easy to have it be multiple people on the side of wanting to get out Derrick. So Casey didn't really care for Derrick in the game. Steve didn't. Nehemiah didn't. And Derrick was somebody that is capable of winning power. We saw that the week before. He saw that he didn't keep his word when he had this power. We saw that he was trying to get Steve out with this power. So I think the fact that he already had reason and good reason to be throwing him in, I think that they went with that as opposed to creating a new enemy and keeping Derrick, who is a known enemy, in the house.
Exactly.
Is my thought. But this was Jodi's first elimination win. But she said she did an elimination before. I wasn't sure what that meant. What does she mean by that? Her only one? Or I feel like she's been in an elimination beforehand. Did she lose and go home?
I honestly cannot remember.
Michelle, where are you? Michelle needs to, but she might not remember that
Our
fact.
historian.
One thing that I love too about All Stars, and it's the lightheartedness of a lot of the things, and we got a lot of that, I think, this episode. Even in the beginning, when they do the previously on, they had them all lined up with the fans and just like you're like silly. They're hamming it up for the camera, absolutely, but it's entertaining. You know, instead of being like how they do it on the main season right now, it's not the same. It's not as lighthearted.
Well, I thought that as well. And like, they're always like willing to do a gag, even like when it came down to like Brad, they like knew Brad was going in, and then Nehemiah like goes to John A and gets like the like hair extensions and like glue for his face, and like learns like does the stare that Brad does, and like just completely emulates him. And I'm like, they can just all take the piss like so much, and it's so entertaining because they're always thinking like, we're on TV. Hey guys, remember, we're on TV. Like, let's do this thing, instead of always like just being like cold and stoic and like trying to like look and act tough. That doesn't read well. It's not that fun to watch.
And they're not seemingly worried about like their followers and whether or not they're going to get Twitter hate. Like, it doesn't seem like them being on the show has anything to do with their life. They are just creating entertaining content. And I swear, Fanta, that was the first time I laughed really, really hard at an episode of the challenge when he put on that wig on his chin, or the weave on his chin, like, and acting like Brad, and then Brad acting like Brad, laughing at Maya, laughing at him. It was meta. It was hilarious. Like, I was like kind of vibing Nehemiah with this beard. He like didn't look terrible, and I was like, it looks okay on you, Nehemiah. I really laughed out loud, and I watched the episode twice, and I laughed even the second time. Like, I thought it was funny, and I really enjoyed the lightness and being able to take the piss out of each other. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. I had so much fun watching this episode. I was like laughing all the way throughout, and like cheering and like clapping and stuff. So,
do you know what? That's the one thing too that usually we get from, we'll say, UK versions of the show. So we'll say Love Island UK is so, I find it so entertaining. Like, of course they have the banter and like the accents, but they do these grand gestures and like they make interesting things that they want to do. Like, these young guys are doing these grand gestures just to say like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And so they know how to put on a show, and people don't take things as seriously as they do in the United States, seemingly. And so I feel like All Stars is kind of, it's rubbed off on like what I like about international shows is that they're just not so serious about themselves. Like, their egos don't seem to be as big. They're just willing to poke fun and laugh at each other, and it's not that big of a deal. But like, what would happen if like somebody made fun of Josh like that? Like, it would have been like a fight, right?
oh my god, it would have turned nuclear, and like you see that, like we already saw that in the main season. Like, people just, they can't do it. The only person in the main season that can make fun of other people and like really get away with it is Kyle. But
True.
even sometimes like he does piss people off, so it's.
And you know what? Devin sometimes will like make fun of themselves and wear silly outfits, and like they did have like that kilt party and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen as often, it seems, like on the All-Star season, and it's not as fun, it seems, or people are not really enjoying themselves as much as the All-Star season. So more props for this episode, because I definitely laughed a lot. So Derrick is really excited about the fact that he has two friends in his alliance that have these life shields. So how did you feel about pretty much the entire episode narrated the fact that those life shields were spoken for Derrick?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, deliberation was like where we get to like just the best part of that. But I was like, wow, like that's pretty big of you to say, because the people whose life shields like those are, like, they haven't said that to you. like, I guess it's like, I suppose it's implied in terms of their alliance, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I was like,
I put a pin in there. I'm like, oh, okay, so he has plans for these lifesavers. Okay. All right. So we see now that MJ, Darrell, Kahada, Derrick, and Brad are seemingly to be forming a group of people that are planning to work together. I believe they're all in the same room. And we see them starting to plan and plot, and Nehemiah is eavesdropping and might have been gathering some information about that other group that's forming. So then he takes that information, goes over to what I was calling them as the resistance, but they called it alliance on the show. And that's now going to be Nehemiah, Latarian, Teck, Steve, and Melinda. So what do you think about these two sides that seemingly are forming at this point?
Well, it was so funny when they like, I love the editing. I love how they put like the alliance, like each alliance on screen so you can see like who's like with who. I love that. I think that the main season should definitely adopt that, but they're not really strategic, so I don't really see that happening. But I loved how they did that, and it was so funny when I looked at the alliance, like with Nehemiah, like and Teck and those guys. I was like, ooh, that alliance is not that strong. But I was still like, I'm all here for it. Like, I'm glad that Nehemiah was like eavesdropping and was like, hey, we got to do something, and Steve too, because they were like, if we don't, we're screwed. We can't just we can't just sit around.
They want to pick off. And so like the fact that like, okay, well, at least we're recognizing that this is happening. Like, let's start thinking about maybe doing something about it. So I love that they're thinking about this. They're not allowing themselves to be picked off like every single rookie on the main season this season. It's like, I just don't want to be picked off now, but I'll be picked up 3 episodes from now. And it's like, no, like create a resistance and like take down these big players. But it definitely didn't happen on the main season, which was very frustrating. So we see Katie speaking with Janelle and Tina, talking about how she feels really protected, really pretty much safe socially. What did you think? Did you have any thoughts like this was drawing, some foreshadowing at all for anything?
Of course, because I remembered the previously on or the next on last episode, and I was like, oh, like you can never, I just feel like in the challenge house, like you can just never say like, I feel so safe. Because as soon as you do, then like next thing you know, you're in the arena or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. And I thought it was also interesting that she was like also announcing it to people, because I'm like, are Janelle like is Janelle really like working with Katie? Like, are they really?
I mean, if he's with he's with Darrell, so Darrell is definitely going to be siding with Katie, and so I think that either if it's just adjacent and through Darrell, I don't think that Janelle. Oh my God, these names! Janelle will be coming for Katie right now. But Tina, I don't know. Tina, giving Tina information, I don't know if that's the best move though.
No, that's horrible. Tina's got a big mouth.
Tina's got a big mouth, but I love that Tina's like, oh, I don't want people to be mean. Hopefully people stay nice. I'm like, Tina, you're the one that's going to get mean.
Yeah, like it's literally just a matter of time. Countdown to Tina.
Countdown to that, like whatever that scene is with the pots and the pans. I'm like, mean Tina is playing nice and now I'm not playing nice anymore. What happens to get that? I can't wait. But before that, say again?
One more episode, I'm sure.
You think?
Probably. It's Tina.
I don't know. I feel like she might last a little bit longer. Just because, with what happens at this episode, I don't know if Jodi is still going to be gunning for her or have just the power to be able to do that. I just don't know if she's still going to be her target. And then other than that, I think she can hide. Like, I don't think people will be gunning for Tina anymore. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. So this I thought was a really important part of the episode. And it actually really helped me understand my dislike for Derrick. Because at one point I did like him. And Michelle and I have talked about it. I think you and I probably talked about it, all 3 of us. it was because he used to be an underdog. He used to be the guy you throw in there, and like he was small, but he was mighty, and he'd always fight the hardest, and he'd beat guys twice his size. So we just loved that fight of Derrick. And Derrick saying like that, well, I have to play a new game. I have to start strategizing. And Nehemiah's like, well, I used to watch you. I used to look up to you, and I wanted to be like you because you were the underdog. This like the strategic side of you, it's not working. And I was like, you called it, Nehemiah. It isn't working. What do you think about Nehemiah being so on the money with who Derrick is?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, it just never looks too good when people, if they're in the house, are acting too big for their britches and don't really have anything immediate to like back it up. And also it's just easier to root for somebody who's like playing it cool in the house, but in confessionals they're really egotistical, or they've got like that sort of narrative like going on. Like that's really like fun and like entertaining to watch. But Derrick,
it's like a gag with the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Which we like. We love that. We love being in on the secret. But with Derrick has just kind of been like annoying this season. And like, especially like I still can't get over the fact like him, wanting to throw in Steve because Steve made fun of him.
In a way that was like, someone's going to have a comment if you're going to wear a matching like two-piece pastel colored pattern suit. Like, it's just like we saw Teck wore something pretty controversial, with his Peptol business suit, and someone made a comment about it. Wasn't it? It might have been Steve. Was it Steve?
I think it was Steve
commenting on attire. It might have been MJ.
Yeah, and then Teck was like, "Cause I'm the shit."
Cause I'm the shit. Right? It's people that have like good self-esteem can handle like little jabs like that. It's not a real jab. He doesn't care about your suit. It has nothing to do with you. You wanted to wear it. You wanted attention of some sort. You're not wearing that to hide in the corner. But it was actually made me really like Nehemiah because he used to never really be that strategic, but the fact that he really clocked Derrick and who Derrick is and who he's seeing Derrick be in this last few episodes, that like he's like, that's not who you are. Like, you used to inspire me. This version of you is not likable. And Nehemiah's right, like right on the money. So Darrell says though that he's cool with Nehemiah, but Derrick is his dog. Were they on the same season? No, they weren't on the same season of Road Rules, but they've just been in the world together for a long time.
They've been around a long time, but no, they weren't on the same season.
So Fanta, you must have had the biggest smile on your face when you saw that it was going to be trivia called Bright Skies.
I actually screamed. I was like, it's trivia!
I miss trivia. Why, like, F Hallballs. I want trivia. Like, it's just so fun just to see people scared and then get the answer wrong and see TJ cackle. It's just like... Yeah.
And I loved this format of trivia too. I loved how he would like, I mean, it wasn't for every single one, but I love how he would like ask a question that had multiple answers.
That's how it was for all of them. So basically I was listening to the instructions and he says that I'm going to ask you a series of questions that all have multiple answers. And it's just going to be basically rapid fire until somebody doesn't know an answer.
I love that. I loved it. It was absolutely like my favorite trivia for that reason. It was so like, I love that so much.
Well, because like, it's like you could play along, like not the audience this time around. They kind of moved through it a little bit too quickly. But if I was strapped up there, I'd be like, okay, let me just think of everything and keep on like having a running tab of like, okay, I have another one. Okay, I have another one. And like, it's like you could really play and like the fear would come in and like your brain would be working and then it'll stop working. Like, I think it would just be fun to play, hard, but winnable, so
yeah,
it was great. That. Now, how did you feel about our girl Katie making it up to the top, strapping herself in, and then before anything even happens, she has a freak out and has to be taken down?
I was so pissed. If I'm honest, I was so pissed. Because I'm like, are you just going to come onto the challenge and just do this every single season and just send yourself in? This is stupid. you know that there's going to be heights. Like, you have to figure out some way to overcome this. Otherwise, like, what's the point of you even being there? Because, like, last season, there was so much height stuff and heights over water. It really, like, it just made me lose respect for Katie. And, like, this is coming from somebody who, like, I am also terrified of heights, but I was like, you know what? If I was doing this, I'd be like, fuck it. We're going. Let's go. Because Casey's also terribly afraid of, like, look at her face. She was just like, holy fuck. Darrell's like insanely afraid of heights. I was just like, what a waste. And then, like, it makes it so that, like, later in the episode, like, when she's like getting mad at Steve and stuff, and then she's going in, I'm like, no. You have nobody else to blame but yourself. You got yourself into this position because you quit.
And it's like another thing too is that all she needed to really, even if she wanted to, like, maybe she could have just done a couple of questions, let somebody go out first, and then be like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know any more answers, and then maybe have her freak out. At least then she wouldn't be going directly into the arena. But I was really frustrated. I was like, well, why'd she even bother going up there? Some other people were saying that they were okay with her going up and at least attempting. But then other people were like, they took too long to take her down, and I just was like, I don't know, she shouldn't have played. Like, it's just like I don't care about the storyline.
I don't either. I don't feel bad. I'm like, the drop is like, yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying, but it's also like 5 seconds. Like, I hated that so much. That was like one of my most hated challenge moments.
Yeah, it didn't feel good because we want to have the opposite feeling, which we did manage to have. So before this challenge even started, we see TJ being like, Darrell, like, how do you feel about this being a heist challenge? It's like, not too good. And Casey's like, yeah, this isn't great. And Katie's like, oh, this sucks as well. And so these are the three people that we're expecting to have some moments with, like, not wanting to do this challenge. And so when Katie went up there and then strapped herself in there to do it and then freaked out and didn't do it, I was like, oh, that's weak. I thought this was going to be your redemption overcoming moment. And then Casey, I can't believe Casey Cooper is the one that managed to overcome her fear of heights and win the gosh darn daily. I actually cried for Casey Cooper. I shed a tear. I could have shed that tear for Katie. I could have, but she didn't want me to.
No, I was like, nah, like, I'm over that. And it also, I'm like, I don't want to watch future seasons with Katie going on and freaking out about heights. That's not entertaining to me. But I'm so happy that Casey won. Like, I'm like, this whole episode, she was just such a bad bitch.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get to a little bit more to her being a bad bitch. But I wanted to talk about a little bit about some of these categories. I thought that these were also fun categories too, which was like, it was entertaining. I loved. So the first one was different arenas that were like on the challenge. And like, I was annoyed that Ayanna just said Super Bowl. Like, was she just assuming that nobody was going to want to throw her in?
I don't know what
that or like was. Go against her. She's not worried about going against anybody.
I don't think so. And I mean, like, obviously, like, we didn't obviously discuss like last week, but yeah, I was like, holy fuck, like, Ayanna is like, she doesn't give a shit. Like, and I mean, I guess she's like earned that right because like pretty much she's like elimination queen, but I was annoyed that she didn't even like try.
There's so many.
She was kind of smug about it. Like the way that she like looked at TJ and was like, Super Bowl.
Yeah, just like, I can't touch me. Nobody's going to go after me.
Which I am cognizant of the fact that she probably hasn't seen like most seasons of the challenge, but I'm like, there's got to be, like, even it's just in the name. Like Inferno, Gauntlet. Maybe they named those ones already, but like, I'm like, I don't know.
There was just been so many that I would think that I would know, but I guess she's really out of the loop completely.
Yeah.
Like completely out of the loop. So another one was Britney's songs. And like, I swear you could see the fear creeping up onto poor little Jasmine as it becomes her turn. It was like Final Destination when you could just see like the wave of like, I don't know, like an entity about to take over her soul. But she just was like,
oh my gosh.
so scared. And like TJ also clocked her fear and just like rising because she doesn't know the answer. And she repeats an answer that Jonna says, and she got ejected.
I love that Jonna was like, I already said that.
And then they play some Britney. Oops, I think they played Oops, I Did It Again. That was the one that she went out on.
They played Piece of Me.
Oh, you want a piece of me? Yes, so good. So the next one was college football SCC. Is SCC Southern California College? I was just like, I had no idea. That's what I'd guess.
You've already confused me. I don't know.
Fanta, I thought that you would know. You're our sports person.
I'm not a football guy. If you ask me like basketball questions, like I could fuck with that. But football, like, forget it.
I don't know about either. So Kendal gets that one wrong, and rightfully so, because I have no idea what the even question means, and neither did she. The biggest chain restaurant. I don't think that they showed us everybody, but Janelle says Denny's, which I think is a pretty strong choice. But maybe it was at like the end, and like they'd already gone through a list of other ones.
I was surprised that was wrong. But I mean, is McDonald's technically a restaurant?
I'm sure it was already taken. They just didn't show them.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm assuming, because like my first go-to wouldn't be Denny's.
Right? But it's so funny to think about like what it does to your mind up there. You know? True. Like to just have to like answer quick and like you're just so high up and like you just pull out an answer from like 18 years ago, like, head, like
I was hungover and it was 24 hours at Denny's on my birthday.
Exactly. That's why you're there.
Or maybe like IHOP was in there, and so like they're just like if I think of IHOP, I think of Denny's. I feel like they're the same thing. They're not at all, but like I don't know. They're the same in my mind for some reason.
They're not the same. You're gonna get hate for that.
I've never been to an IHOP.
They're both.
I don't love pancakes. Actually, maybe I've been to one once, but like 30 years ago. The next one was 13 individual winners. So I love that they brought in a little bit of challenge history in there. So I like that. It gave everybody kind of equal playing field of being able to pull out some of these answers.
That's one of my favorite bits of trivia is when they do challenge trivia. I love that.
Me too. The next one was, I think it was countries that have over 100 million people, or 100 million people countries.
Was it? Oh yeah, they did countries and then they did American cities.
Yes, that was for the guys. Jodi got that one wrong. So the 20 highest followers, Melinda goes out with Kanye West. How many does Kanye West even have, actually? Like probably not close to I guess the top 20 followers they were staying. So let's see. Kanye.
I was impressed that they were able to like go back and forth. Kanye West only has 9.6 million followers. Embarrassing, right? Imagine.
I'm like, I feel like I almost have that. Not at all.
Yeah, like I have that. That's embarrassing. But it's when people like TikTok people.
That's true.
Like the DeMello twins or whatever.
Sisters, yeah.
Sisters.
I can't remember their name. Dixie and I can't remember the other girl. The more famous one.
We're too old to be playing this game.
I know. They literally could be my children. Like actually. So then Linda goes out. Then the most epic one is Harry Potter book titles. And we get Janae and the confessionals being like, I've read each of these books 5 times. And we see Casey Cooper being like, I've seen some of the movies. So I thought that Janae had it in the bag. What were you thinking?
I thought so too. I was like, oh no, Casey's done.
And then she wasn't. I wouldn't have known these. Do you know all these Potter books?
I read the first one and then I read the fourth one just for kicks. And I've seen like maybe 2 of the movies.
I've seen just the first movie. I haven't read any of them. I was too old when they were a craze. And so I feel like I do have to go back and read them just because it's like pop culture phenomena. But I wouldn't have been able to get them. I'd be like, I would maybe remember Philosopher's Stone. That's probably it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to mess with that.
So Janae couldn't remember one of them, and Casey gets her first win. Say again?
The last one. She couldn't remember the last one.
Yes, the last one, correct. Which was the one that had Phoenix in the title, and I feel like that she should have remembered it, but she probably wasn't thinking of them in order.
Yeah, didn't she? She was like, the other one?
There's another one?
That was so good.
There's another one?
She had that look on her face. She was like, oh, that was good.
I was hoping that she would have remembered when she's being ejected, being like, ah, da, 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 da. But she didn't give me that, unfortunately. I was really happy for Casey. Her first individual daily win, overcoming a fear. Like, I had all the feels. TJ was so happy. Like, he was so happy for her. And I love seeing TJ happy. And it's probably like just suppose with like Katie completely quitting. But this was like, it was a challenge epic moment, I thought.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely like, yeah. And that's how you do it.
It's how you do it. So then we got the dudes. So the first question that they showed us was multiple challenge winners. I'm sure they went around with more than just landing on Brad and him saying Katie. Like, it just doesn't make any sense that he would have said Katie that quickly. There had to have been other ones, and he was just running out of like names.
Of course, I'm sure.
Has to. So Brad goes out there. So he is going to be going directly into the arena with Katie, funny enough. So the coastlines that either touch an ocean or the Gulf of Mexico. Poor MJ says New Orleans. He meant Louisiana, but God bless him. I love MJ this season, though. He's great.
I've always had a soft spot for MJ.
I just don't remember him right now that much, like his impact, but like seeing him this season, like I'm going to go back and watch his season just to be reminded of him, you know?
Of course.
Of course. Then we have Tom Cruise movies. I don't remember who it was, but someone said Far and Away, and I laughed.
I laughed at Far and Away, and then I was also like, nobody said Cocktail? Hello?
Filmed in Tirana.
Oh my God. Cocktail is like the shit.
My mom was an extra on Cocktail. And so like she said that she's like, oh my God, like Elizabeth Shue is so beautiful. Like she like doesn't do justice her on TV. Like in real life, she's probably one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. So that's what my mom said about Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue and Cocktail. What other ones though would I have said? Oh no, I would have said Rain Man. Rain Man was the one that was on like the tip of my tongue.
There's also Vanilla Sky.
Ooh, that one. Okay, it's the most valuable sports teams. Would you have gotten this one?
I think I would have gotten a few. I definitely
like Lakers.
I definitely would have gotten the Lakers. I was actually surprised, like they said Dallas Cowboys. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
It was correct.
Yeah,
I could assume that just because like their cheerleaders are so like epic that like I feel like it's like a American like franchise, you know?
Yeah, and I mean football is huge.
I don't understand how huge it is, but yeah, it's huge.
Football's massive. It's massive. I probably would have like gotten into like wait, they said the world's most valuable sports teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably gotten into some footy, some European football.
Ooh,
like Real Madrid or I don't know, like whatever. one of those?
I would never have been because I was always allowed to take dance instead of phys ed. So I danced my way through middle school and high school. And before that, though, I will have to say, I was on the soccer team. I do have some soccer trophies, and I do have some softball trophies as well. So before the age of 8, I did play those sports. But once grade 4 came, 9 years old, I was like, no more sports for me. No more, what's it called? Hockey and indoor hockey. Was it? Anyways, no more of that. What's it called? Floor hockey. No more floor hockey. Not for this girl. Only dance.
Oh, hockey is fun.
Then we had the 44 actors that have won multiple Oscars. Kahana went out on that. Oh, Derrick went out on the valuable sports team one. And he was just so extra. And I was rolling my eyes when he went out because he just feels so safe because he has 2 of his friends with the Life Shield. It is called Life Shield, not Lifesaver, right? Yeah, Life Shield.
Life Shield, yeah.
Then we got the 10 cities with more than 1 million inhabitants. And so...
Was it 1 million or more?
Yeah, cities with a million plus, a little million and more.
Okay.
And so Tyler said Atlanta, and I thought that would be a decent call.
What is it?
Atlanta, like, seems like it would have 1 million people. That's like a huge city.
I think it was more than 1 million, Chantal. I think it was 10 million because Atlanta's population is like 6 million.
Let's see. I wrote down 10 cities with 1 million or more people. That's what I wrote down.
I remember it being like 10 million.
Okay, chat, tell me. Oh my God, you guys have talked a lot.
Because then you could say like so many cities. You could be like Seattle, Portland, like there's so many cities that you can say. I'm pretty sure it was 10 million.
Sophie, I've just have never been to IHOP, and I'm not a big pancake fan. I would prefer French toast, to be fair. Okay, let me look at Atlanta. Population.
It's like 6 million.
Oh, no, wait. No. No, it's less than 1 million. Well, as of 2015, unless it's gone up, whatever. This stat says 448,901.
Yeah, Atlanta population it's like 6 million. I looked it up.
No, it says what is population of Atlanta in 2020? 500,000. It's 498,715.
Chantal.
Look, it's right here. It's Wiki. What is the population of Atlanta in 2020? It says with the census population.
There's no way. There's no way, dude.
It is the 38th most populous city in the United States.
Okay, I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm wrong. I can admit when I was wrong.
Can you say that again? Sorry, because I feel like you were really laying it on like Chantal.
Okay. So the thing I was looking at says the metro area and the surrounding
of Georgia.
areas.
Okay, so like a GTA type vibe.
Yeah.
But not like Toronto or like Vancouver, but greater Vancouver would probably have more. Gotcha. It's fine. It's fine. You were wrong. But,
we're not fighting. We're good.
So anyways, he thought it was Atlanta, as you probably would have as well. And Tyler is out there. And was it the next one? Challengers that have won more than once. What did I write down? I thought I'd remember these things, and I'm like, nope, brain dead. Something more than once. Oh, with the challenge seasons. So have they been to Jamaica?
No, I don't think so.
Because Teck says Jamaica, and I was like,
yeah,
they've been to Jamaica once?
I don't think they've ever gone to Jamaica.
Okay, so I was like, you think they've gone there twice? I'm like, I would love to know when they went there once because I love Jamaica.
Oh no, wait. Sorry, my bad. But it was Battle of the Sexes.
Oh, okay, so it was in the early 2000s. That's fine. I wouldn't remember then for sure. Was that where what's his name? Puck got married? Were they in Jamaica?
I don't think I've ever watched Battle of the Sexes.
That might have been actually Battle of the Sexes. I'm going to do the research for that for next week.
Okay.
So then Sexiest Man Alive comes around. We get the usual George Clooney, Brad Pitts, whatever. And I have to say, Darrell says Boris Cujo, who actually is one of the most attractive men on the planet. Do you know who this guy is?
No, I'm just looking it up right now.
He's so good looking. He's married to that woman, Nicole, with the light eyes, curly hair.
Oh, I mean, yes, he's stunning.
So good looking.
That is just so funny to me. Like, Darrell is just like, well, he's gotta be. He's so handsome. And then like TJ's like, what? And he's like, Boris Cujo. Like, can't even like get it out.
But the fear was coming over him. He's just like,
fear. Oh my god, that was that was so funny.
He looked like a little boy. That's how scared he was. Like he looked like he was like 8 years old on a ride at the Disneyland and wasn't happy about it. Like he just looked so young and scared. Darrell, cutie pie. And then the 10 fastest land animals. When he said zebra, I didn't think that was that bad of a guess because it wasn't. I thought they're pretty fast though. No, or am I thinking of like a gazelle or something? And I'm just like mistaking.
I would have guessed the next guess for me, I would have been like, I don't know, a panther.
Yeah, I would say panther, jaguar.
Like I would keep it on the cats.
Yeah, I would have said cats, but they must have gone through many cats. Then they just clipped it together.
Springbok, quarter horse, wildebeest, lion, black buck, hare, greyhound, kangaroo. But also, like, I don't trust my Google anymore. So,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Don't know if I trust your Googling either. And then Letarian goes out on that one. That's allowing Steve to be the winner. So the winner of this daily is going to be Casey Cooper and Steve the hand model. Great way to shake it up because those are two people that aren't usually in power, or so far this game anyways. So it was very nice to see the two of them gaining some power. So a lot of the narration was that it's crazy that Brad and Katie, two people that are pretty well situated, are going to be going directly into elimination.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty wild. And then we get a confessional from Derrick saying how proud he is of Casey. And then mentions again that he has 2 life shields that could help him out if he needs it. So I thought it was interesting that he was so proud of Casey, but then when they're in deliberation, Casey was not all for Derrick at all. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, wait, nomination happened?
That hasn't happened yet, but I just was saying like the fact that when Casey was talking about
Derrick,
I mean, she's like,
it was so like in terms of like, because like in terms of like when it was everybody deliberation, like the comment that he made.
No, before that.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Just with Steve. I was just surprised because we just saw like Derrick be like, hey, I'm so proud of Casey. Like she got a win, and like as if they're really good friends. And then as soon as they're in that deliberation, she was just like, oh, you want Derrick, right? Let's get him out. Like she did not care for him.
I see what you're saying, but also it is very much so that thing that I think that anybody that would have won that wasn't in Derrick's alliance, he would have done the same like song and dance with them. And he would have been like, hey, like, great job, like, and just being like that whatever kind of poor man's strategic shit that he would do. But yeah, like Casey's so smart. Like, obviously she would see right through that. There's not going to be a part of Casey that's like, oh, he said something nice to me. Okay, I don't want to put him in.
Right? No, I mean, she wasn't feeling that at all, which I loved. I was like, Katie, you are Queen Casey now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean Katie. Casey. So before we get to them talking, we do have the discussion of the 3-headed monster. So this is what I thought was really interesting, being the 3-headed monster is Brad, Derrick, and Darrell. And Nehemiah is talking to Steve about this Steve brings up the 3-headed monster. Nehemiah's telling them like, Jodi and Kehoe here, they have these life shields, and she kind of spoon feeds that information to Steve, and it's like, unless you make them use it, and then we could pick whomever we want. And I was just like, I loved that Nehemiah was being strategically sound. He lobbed it over to Steve so Steve could have that realization on his own, so he doesn't feel like he's being forced to do anything. I thought it was very great manipulation for his favor on Nehemiah's part. I think it was very great for their alliance to have Steve kind of execute this part of the plan.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. And I love how they were like, both of them were just like, yeah, we're not afraid. Let's go. Let's do it.
Not afraid? Oh my God, I love it. So Katie says that the only person that she doesn't want to go against is Kendal. And she's telling this to Ayanna, like, I don't want to go against her. I called her out, or I went against her the last season, and I don't want to do it again. Why does she care? Like, does she not want to lose to her again? She doesn't want to put her in that situation again just because she has children. Like, who cares? Why? What's the
I think it was because she doesn't want to lose to her, and maybe I guess like she feels like maybe like they're friends now because people are now like cool with Kendal, but I think it's mostly because she's like I don't want to lose to her because specifically like Katie also didn't really give who she wanted to go against. And then like when that whole thing happened with like Ayanna, she's like, oh my God. But it's like, who did you want to go against?
Exactly.
And also like, you never know what the elimination is going to be. You're just operating under the assumption that it's going to be like, you guys are going to be like head to head.
Exactly. So we get to Steve and Casey having a conversation, and Casey was so excited when Steve brings to the table that he wants to burn the life shields. So I love that she was so excited. She's like, look at you, you little mastermind. But she had some things that she wanted to have executed in this, and she really got her way. She really, I felt, dominated in how their deliberation went. And when they called over Kahada and Jodi, they were even shocked. Is this a shocking move? I didn't like. It was a great strategic move, but I didn't think it was that shocking. How did you feel about it?
I think in the house, like they really felt like they had a good handle on the alliance, and they were like, "Oh my God, like there's no way," because also there is that sentiment that's the way that they went about this strategically to be like, let's put these people up. Typically, people would be like, "What's the point of putting them up? They have life shields."
Yeah,
and that was the thinking. Everybody up until this point, but now this has changed the game because now people know like, oh, they're going to be like, I want to get to this person, but they won't be able to have their friend use a life shield on them. So it's a cool new thing that happens. Like you don't see it happen often, but you can even go back to like, back to Big Brother, dating myself, but way back into like the backdoor plan.
I just was about to say that. I was like, the 5-finger plan. Yes.
Yeah, the 5-finger plan with Nokomis. And you're like, and then it's like, whoa, why has no one ever thought of that? And then it's like, now this will always be a thing moving forward.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so cool, because it's like, this is the first time that anyone's done this with the life shields.
I didn't realize it was the first time, because I just feel like it would be something that I would be considering for sure. It's like, if you don't want someone to use the life shield, make them use it on themselves. So I just think the concept wise, but it could be because I've seen that happen on Big Brother, like when plans like that kind of enact, where it's like where you foil the system. They broke the system of the life shield. So I don't know what the challenge is going to do about it, because they've gamed it. And now you're going to have to game around that. It's also the same thing is splitting the votes for the idol, right? Like that's something that came out of having these new additions to the game, that it's like, well, I know that they exist, so I'm going to know what I'm going to do with the life shields, which I think is great, because I love strategy, right? And so this helps strategy out to me. That's perfect.
I love that. That whole part, I was just like, I'm in heaven. Like, this is awesome.
I also love that Casey was like, well, we got to make sure that the people that we're leaving to be eligible to vote are not going to save Derrick. So they put next to him Tyler. So after they did the whole lifesaver, they saved themselves. So that's out of the question. Now they don't have a vote. So the two of them that would potentially vote for Derrick are not able to vote at all at the deliberation. And then now all the women apparently are going to be voting for Tyler. So Tyler and Derrick are going to be up, and Tyler will have the votes according to how they strategically placed everybody, which I was like, that's a lot of strategy, Casey. That's a lot of work. You actually gave the votes too. Like, I'm giving you props, high props for that. Absolutely. So good. And like Kendal being a vote for Derrick, like she just took all the extra votes for Derrick so that he couldn't do anything. Yeah. And it was delicious to see his arms behind his back.
It's been so long. It's like, especially just with reality TV nowadays, the strategy is just so few and far between that when it happens, it's just like, oh, so satisfying.
So satisfying. I totally agree. So we already talked about the Life Shield chat. The people that are going to be up on the board now after all that is Derrick, Kendal, Ayanna, and Tyler.
Yeah.
I wrote down Steve for some reason. And so those are going to be the four people, assuming that Kendal would have the votes to stay and Tyler would also have the votes to stay, and that Ayanna and Derrick would be going in against Katie and Brad. So Brad versus Derrick, that's so rude.
Oh my God. I was so happy about that. But okay, so I mean, we obviously can't miss this moment when everybody, like, we know Brad, Derrick are going in. Ayanna and Katie are going in, and then Derrick is like getting all pissy about it, and then he's just like, this whole time, like, I had these life shields, and then Casey is like, your life shields? Like, I thought those were Jodi and Cause.
Mm-hmm. He had plans for those life shields.
I had plans for those life shields. It was so petulant. And I'm so happy that Casey called him out. Oh. I'm so happy. I was like, oh, Casey, oh my God, I can't handle it. You're doing too many amazing things. But I'm so glad that she's not scared. She did all this strategy. She called Derrick out, and everyone's like, but it's true. It's like, dude, those aren't yours. If you want a life shield, go down and earn it yourself.
Absolutely. And don't be broadcasting to everybody that you know that 100% that one of them at least are going to use the life shield on you. It's like, not if they have to use it on themselves, Derrick. And then he's calling them snakes for doing this. And I'm like, no, they just outsmarted you, babe.
Yeah, they outsmarted you. And that's the thing. It's like, Derrick, like, you aren't a strategist. And that, you know, it goes back to the thing that Nehemiah was saying at the start of the episode. Like, that's not you. You aren't a strategist. Because if you were a strategist and that happened, you would,
like, I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I would have thought of that. Like, it's not his thing. Like, Casey's very smart.
So what I've been saying though is that people that aren't strategists call people making game moves snakes. Because like that, I was been relating it to, like, this is the same thing that Corey and Nelson always say, like, oh, you get snakes. It's like, oh no, they just made a game move that benefited their own game that didn't benefit you. Like, that's not them being a snake, especially if you are not on the same team. Like, he's not working with Steve. He put Steve in there. He wanted Steve to go home. And it just so happened that Nehemiah was able to get people to give him who he wanted. And that was the other Derrick Chavez last week. So he's just all kinds of wrong with his gaming this season. Like, he didn't get anything that he wanted, but he had a lot of ego and bravado that wasn't earned. And he clearly got his comeuppance. Absolutely. Did you die of laughter when Ayanna undressed and revealed her uniform underneath her outfit?
No, I didn't actually. I was like, Ayanna's like starting to be a little bit too much.
I didn't like her last week at all, but I was okay with her this week.
Like, I mean, I do love her in elimination. I could watch her in elimination like every fucking week. I do love her in elimination, but I wonder how many times they're gonna do the I slept in my uniform gag. I feel like that's like
this is it though. She can't do it again unless she does it 2 more times. You know what I mean? Like,
which she might. But I feel like it's like an editor's like gag now. They're like, okay, like we want to keep like getting this in here. But yeah, I felt so about it.
I laughed. I was like, oh my God, Ayanna. So I just one of those kind of laughs. I appreciate it though for the fact that she thought about doing something for the entertainment value of the show.
TV.
Right?
You gotta do it for the TV of it all.
What about Derrick going over to the board and like kind of, you know, trying to psych somebody out and then couldn't find his name tag and then standing on the table and like calling out Nehemiah and saying, don't miss. And Nehemiah's like, is that a threat? Like, don't miss. Nobody's scared of you, Derrick. Nobody.
Since the start of like episode 1, I've been saying under my breath, like, Derrick, go away. This was like,
yeah, I'm sorry, Derrick. I did used to really like you, but I remember when I did a rewatch of the Island, and he was just so on the middle, and he wouldn't take a side or a stance. I was just like, And Katie called him out on it, saying that like he kind of stabs his friends in the back for his own game, and he's not actually a great ally to have. And he kind of isn't, because he'll just be like, oh, I can't do anything. My hands are tied. Like he won't stand for anything. So
yeah, it's so funny that you bring that up, because I remember being so pissed about that when I watched The Island, and I was like, no, don't side with Bananas. He's been an asshole this entire time. Like, be something, like be a man and like do something. And yeah, ever since then, I've just never really, because I loved Derrick, like Nehemiah said, like when it was like
Cutthroat, I think it was.
And like, yeah, I was like, I loved him because he's just such an, like, I was just always rooting for him. And then after The Island, I was like, and then just especially now, I'm like, I can't.
And that was his last win, wasn't it? It was, I think. So that's, you know what, that's when I stopped liking him, was then. It was The Island. And then when he's come back as like a mercenary, whatever, like, okay, fine, but like I'll take you as coming back as that. But then when he was back on the main season, I was like, I don't really care for you that much. And then this shows me that like I don't really care for his new style of gameplay anyways that much.
Yeah.
Not at all. So then I wrote down, I'm obsessed with Nehemiah and Janae's hair as a beard. We talked about it already, but I loved that moment so much. I should have taken a video of me laughing at that moment, because like I laughed quite hard.
It was such a good moment.
Actually, you might be able to see it, because when I originally saw it, I was watching it with Michelle. We did a broadcast of it, so my actual laugh was on it.
Oh my gosh. Funny. Yeah, it was great.
So then we go down to the arena. And so basically I really enjoyed this particular arena elimination challenge, where they had 1,000 pounds that they had to move. It seems like one sandbag at a time to up a ramp through a hole. And once 1,000 pounds has been dropped there, a puzzle is going to pop up, and it's going to be kind of a color stacking slide puzzle. So I feel like this would be up your alley, Fanta. What do you think?
You know, I love challenges like this. Like in my head, I call them like workhorse challenges, like where you have to, like, where it's just like the back and forth. Like I love that. That's one of my favorite types of eliminations. And this is a puzzle I actually think I could do.
They're good. I've done similar ones. I've been trying to find them online to see if I can find one, because I think I'd find those fun. I've done ones where you like have to fill up, like you can only fill different test tubes, where it's like it'll be all different multicolors, and you have to make all the test tubes only have its color in, but it doesn't have like how the top was all connected. So I would like to try one like the actual challenge.
Yeah, I loved this one. I love both of those components, and it's just the eliminations. Yeah, even on the main season, like eliminations I've loved them all. They've been really good.
Oh, thank you, Andre. Yes, Puck married on Sex is One. Boom. So I actually still know some stuff, even though it was 20 years ago. Literally, yes, Battle of the Exes in Jamaica. Hi, Adrian. Didn't see that you're here. The spinning incidents between Puck and David. I could loosely remember these things, you know? So Katie doesn't end up being able to be fast enough, but Ayanna, who I didn't know how great she would be at puzzles. She had no trouble with, obviously, with the running back and forth with the sandbags, but then she also pretty much smoked Katie on the puzzle, and Katie's going to be sent home. I was okay with Katie going home here.
Yeah, honestly, like I was, I just remember like at the daily, I was like, I cannot see Katie freak out about heights again.
Mhm.
I just can't. I'm done with it. So I didn't really care for that.
Yeah. Yes, Dan, he was so cringe. So we see now it's the in the arena it's going to be Derrick versus Brad, and it was back and forth. They're pretty neck and neck, and looking at the puzzle at the end, Michelle was saying like Derrick was really close. If he hadn't taken that moment to calm himself down, he might have been able to beat Brad. And when I watched it again a second time, he was pretty close. He was probably about 4 moves away from completing the puzzle.
I'm so happy he didn't win.
Me too.
But at the same time, I was kind of torn because I was like, if he did come back into the house, then it would have been like a lot of drama, which I like. But I just Brad needs a win, you know. Brad needs a win.
He does need a little bit of a win. And I was happy that Brad won. I was rooting for Brad to win. I felt like he was going to win just because he's taller. So he'd probably be able to do those trips just a little bit faster. And I was happy when he solved that puzzle before Derrick. I was just like, yes. But I totally agree with you. Like, yes, we want drama and this and that, but I also don't know if I want to see any confessionals with him being like, ha ha ha, Nehemiah, you took a shot, you didn't win, you missed. Like, I don't know if I need to see that, but they're both going to be on season 3 together, so the rivalry can be rebirthed on that season.
It'll continue. But yeah, I was so happy that like Brad won, and like Brad has been like he's come in like just very like zen, like he's just like his new look actually is like I'm like that suits him, like he's coming in zen, like I'm happy to watch Brad and see how he performs for the rest of the season. I would have felt like we would have been a bit robbed if Brad went home.
Hi, Dabu. So Dabu says Derrick won the island and ruins with Johnny Bananas, Evan, and Kenny. He somehow avoided criticism for supporting them.
True.
Mm-hmm. Are the hookups being unaired? So do we know if those rumored hookups have happened yet? I wasn't sure if they happened on this season or if they started happening on next season or in the in-between. So I'm not sure when the timeline is for the hookups. Personally, but I can't wait. I hope they air them. That'll be fun.
I know they have to.
Hi, Speaking of Truth. So Speaking of Truth says Kendal spoke on the Mike Lewis pod about this episode. I just saw that she spoke, so I haven't watched that yet, and said the puzzle both Derrick and Katie did was sticking at the same spot during the challenge. So, the fact that they were so close. So you're thinking that it was a sabotage and they were on the same puzzle side, that maybe they were destined to lose? Interesting. I'm gonna listen to that then. I want to hear more about that. Isn't all the challengers on All Stars married? Why would they hook up with other people? Well, there's some people that are no longer married at this point.
Sophie. It's a challenge house.
Some people met their
pheromones into the vents, so they hook up.
And tequila. FYI, the rivalry between Nehemiah and Derrick is allegedly fake. Huh. Okay, I don't mind it being fake. They're doing a good job with it not being too annoying. Like, it's a good amount of annoying. And Derrick went out, so like it's not going on and on. So I'm okay with it for now. We'll see how it plays out next season. So Janae and MJ, yes, we do know that. Jasmine, I haven't heard Jasmine hooking up with anybody. No. I heard Melinda and Latarian. Wasn't there one more? No. I'm just thinking about MJ having
I can get behind that.
the Tyrion. Remember he called her like Mama Melinda or whatever, Melinda Mama or something.
Melinda?
So it's like, okay, you're making sure you're taking care of her.
Melinda's boring, but she's very hot.
She's beautiful, absolutely, and hopefully she's okay next episode because she looks like she goes down. Adrian is honestly surprised with Brad this season. I wasn't a huge fan of him during Vendettas and Final Reckoning, but seeing how much, seeing him now made me feel okay with him. Absolutely, I agree. I think it has to do with the fact that he probably has to come in with a new attitude, with Tori kind of dragging him on social media about his parenting skills. So I think he won.
Now they seem to be like
cordial?
On cordial terms, because there was a tweet that she had where she was like, oh, it's so fun watching All Stars this season, because like, especially with my kids, because they're like, oh, that's like so and so's mom, and then in brackets like Kendal, like, oh, that's like so and so's like dad, and then like it's dad jumping into the pool. So like, whereas before it was like obviously like very contentious, but yeah, I think the new look on Brad, it looks good on him, physically and persona wise.
Yes, I'm happy about it, and just the lightheartedness he was with the Nehemiah thing. He's winning in my books this season so far. So he very easily could fall out of that position. I definitely wasn't a fan of him when he was in his dating Brittany era, but we can allow him to have a redemption season for sure. So Andre says, I'm still shook that by Casey, that episode, the girl who was afraid and bad at challenges wins it daily and owns all the power guys. Yes, she did a great job. I'm standing Casey. I can't believe I'm even saying that. We were laughing at Fanta for drafting her onto her team, and now we're like, Fanta got some points. Would you say that there was a fight between Katie and Steve? Would you consider those fight points?
No.
No? Okay, so no fights, just the daily wins. I guess maybe the life shield holder will give points to. Yeah. No, that's elimination wins. So that's the same, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't really. It was like a light argument, not even.
Heated. It was heated. Maybe end of a friendship. Maybe. You never know. That's pretty much it for the episode. Do you have anything else that went down this episode that you want to talk about, or in the ethers of the challenge?
No, there wasn't like anything major that came up in my end.
All right. Well, it's been a fabulous Fanta having you here this evening to talk about this episode. It was definitely a fun time. And thank you, everybody here in the chat. You guys are awesome. I forgot to make a tier maker with our draft, Adrian. So just so you know, because I know that like our lists are in the description box below. But so far, I just lost Katie and Derrick. Beforehand, I also lost Derrick. I believe I had on that team as well. Michelle has lost Leah, correct? And then Fanta has lost both Sophia and Ryan. I believe that's everybody so far. So I forgot to, I keep on thinking that I've already made one, and I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't made a tier maker with like, so we can just like visually see it. I forgot, of course I'm gonna make one. I just keep on forgetting, because like I do the other challenge beforehand and we have that on a tier maker. So I just visually, I'm like, oh yeah, I've already done that. And I'm like, oh no, I haven't done it for All Stars.
You gotta make one.
Of course, I have it written down and I have it in the description.
For the this is the update, people.
A little bit closer, Fanta, so I can see it. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, Michelle is looking good this season so far. But
so far, yeah. I mean, she does have a pretty stacked. She's a really stacked men's team, and women's team. Yeah. Michelle really actually like knocked it out of the park.
The middle spot's good though. The middle spots can be really, really good.
Michelle has Ayanna, Janelle, Kendal and Melinda and Tina.
Like she kind of basically always gets the second best instead of getting the first and the third. You know what I mean? Or the fourth and the fifth. You know, it's just like always second best is pretty good. So the middle spots usually, well, they all have their pros and cons. It depends on who you're playing with and who's on the season. But second position is strategically probably the easiest to get the best team.
Yeah.
Or the most solid. So Sophie's on your team. Fanta says it looks like Fanta's winning both drafts this season. Fanta's going to be rich. No, I think Michelle's going to win this one, though. I think Fanta...
I don't think I'm going to win this one. I would really like to. Maybe something can get pulled. But last year, I also didn't think I was going to win. Last year, like
we won by 5 points in the end.
After we picked, like last year, I was like, I'm for sure not winning this.
Well... Oh, this is a good question. Jorge wants to know if Gisela is still dating Alton. I haven't heard anything about that. So I'd say no, but I have not heard anything. See? Yeah, supposedly Katie is still pissed at Steve. Well, she should have told who she wanted instead of just leaving it up to Steve.
Yeah, and also that's a thing, like, I forgot to say this, but that's also the thing, like, who, like, basically Katie, the only person that Katie would have been fine to go against would have been Jasmine.
Yeah. Everybody else,
she just like it's like lost. You should have said that then, because she would have been pissed at anybody. But she also wasn't naming names, but she would have been pissed.
Yeah. So Adrian says, also, I just looked at this description, and MJ and Tiva are Gemini. Yes, I mean I love a good Gemini.
You gotta do a Gemini exodus every couple of years in your life and just get rid of the Geminis.
Brutal. I love Geminis. Okay, so I'm trying hard to find her on find T on Celebrity Big Brother 3. Do we know who's going to be on it yet? Is that the T you're talking about? Probably. I did hear that they talked to Leroy. I heard that they've talked to maybe Johnny Bananas. I don't know if this is true or not. I heard that New York is on the docket, maybe. And there's one other person and maybe Todrick Hall was like a potential person that I heard, but I don't know if it's just like fake rumors or real. But that's it, guys. Thank you for joining your Friday nights with us here on Reality Realness. Please do us a big favor and subscribe. You know the drill, but just do it. Just subscribe. And like this video if you're watching this after the live viewing. And in the comments, I want you to let me know. What do we want to know, Fanta?
Are they going to show these hookups?
Are they going to show any hookups next week? Are we going to get some sort of hookup points next week?
Are they going to show these hookups? And if they're going to show these hookups, which ones are they going to be?
Yes, please let us know that in the comments. And we will see you guys on Wednesday where we'll talk about the night of eliminations and the beginning of the finale after 5 months together. We're almost at the end, so... We'll see you Wednesday, probably around 11 Eastern. Sorry, what, Fanta?
Oh, no, just saying we're getting there.
I know. We're 17 episodes done. Woo! Love you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. We will be seeing you soon. Ciao.